kind of dad are you when they bring a boy home and they say, I'm dating this?
Oh, I'm fine.
child?"
I'm cool with that. I don't know. I wouldn't deign to give anybody advice.
Matt Damon, one of Hollywood's most respected stars, has spent decades in the spotlight, winning awards, commanding screens, and building a career admired around the world. But away from the cameras, something even more captivating has quietly taken shape. His 4 daughters, rarely seen, effortlessly stunning, and strikingly grounded, have begun turning heads whenever and wherever they appear. Not just for their beauty, but for the calm confidence they carry. Who are they? How were they raised? And why does everyone suddenly notice them? This is the story. The rare appearances that made people stop and stare. Whenever Matt Damon steps out in public with his daughters, the response is almost instant. People notice right away. That was easy to see on July 31st, 2024, at the New York premiere of The Instigators, when Alexia, Isabella, Gia, and Stella appeared alongside Matt and Luciana as a family. The same thing happened again on January 13th, 2026, at the New York premiere of The Rip. It was another rare family appearance, and once again, the cameras did not just capture a famous actor with his loved ones. They captured a family that made people stop, look again, and talk quietly. Part of what makes these moments stand out so much is how uncommon they are. The Damon girls are not constantly in front of cameras. They are not the kind of celebrity children people see every week on social media, at every event, or in endless headlines. They keep a quiet distance from that kind of exposure, and that distance gives every appearance more weight. So when they do show up, it feels like a real moment, not just another celebrity photo opportunity. And then there is the obvious part. Yes, Matt Damon's daughters are gorgeous. Anyone can see that in a second. But what makes the reaction stronger is that their beauty does not feel forced. It does not feel polished, stiffly, or artificial. They do not give off the feeling of young women who have been carefully trained to chase attention or perform for public approval. Instead, they seem natural, relaxed, and fully at ease with themselves. That is what makes them so interesting to watch. Their appearance is striking, but it is their presence that stays with people. They carry themselves with a calm confidence that feels real. There is no sign of trying too hard, no loud push for attention, no sense of needing to prove anything. They simply show up, and that alone is enough to leave an impression. In a celebrity culture where so much can feel overly planned and overly polished, that kind of ease is rare. And maybe that is why each public appearance feels bigger than it should. It is not only that they look beautiful, it is that they seem grounded, genuine, and completely comfortable being exactly who they are. At first glance, people cannot help but notice the striking beauty of Matt Damon's daughters. But is beauty the only thing that makes them stand out? Or is there something beyond mere beauty that makes people keep looking without even realizing it? Let's uncover the interesting details. The quiet confidence that makes Matt Damon's daughters impossible to ignore. Matt Damon's daughters do not leave an impression only because they are beautiful. Plenty of famous children are attractive, well-dressed, and photographed in the right light. What makes these girls different is the quiet way they carry themselves. They seem calm without looking stiff, confident without looking performative, and polished without seeming like they were trained for attention. That balance is rare, especially in a celebrity culture where every appearance can feel planned down to the smallest detail. That is the part people respond to, even if they do not say it right away. Of course, people notice the dresses, the smiles, and the way the family looks together in photographs. But after that first reaction, something deeper settles in. The Damon daughters give off the feeling of young women who are not trying to win the room. They are simply in it, comfortable, steady, and sure of themselves. That kind of presence cannot be bought with stylists, cameras, or a good publicist. It usually comes from growing up in an environment where a person is allowed to be real. In a time when many celebrity children are seen everywhere, online, at events, in headlines, and in carefully managed posts, the Damon daughters still seem slightly out of reach. They are visible, but not overused. Present, but not constantly promoted. That distance gives them a different kind of pull. It makes each appearance feel less like content and more like a genuine moment that people happen to witness. There is also something human about the way they come across. They do not seem burdened by the pressure to impress strangers. They do not look like young women carrying the heavy weight of public expectation on their shoulders. Instead, they appear grounded, private, and at ease with who they are. That is what gives their beauty more force. It is not loud beauty. It is not attention-seeking beauty. It is the kind that lands softly, then stays in people's minds much longer than they expected. That is why people keep looking. Not because the girls are trying to be unforgettable, but because they seem untouched by the celebrity rush. In a public space, they manage to feel personal, sincere, and normal. Beyond their beauty, it is the confidence and composure of Matt Damon's daughters that make them stand out wherever they appear. But what shaped those remarkable qualities? Did their parents help build that quiet strength and self-assurance? Or is it simply a result of who they are as individuals? Let's find out. A quiet home that shapes a powerful public image. What people notice on a red carpet rarely begins there. Long before the cameras flash and the headlines start, something quieter is already shaping the people standing in front of them. In Matt Damon's family, that shaping seems to begin at home, in the small choices that never make the news. The way a parent listens, the way a child is spoken to, the way confidence is built slowly, day by day, without making a show of it. Damon has spoken more than once about how quickly his daughters are growing up, and there is a real feeling in the way he talks about it. In one interview, he admitted it is happening at a blistering pace, a phrase that carries both pride and a little shock. Like many parents, he seems aware that childhood does not move gently. One moment, they are little girls, and the next, they are young women stepping into the world with minds, voices, and identities of their own. What makes his view of fatherhood stand out is that he does not seem interested in ruling over that process. He has pushed back against the old image of the strict, controlling dad whose job is to intimidate and tightly manage every step. Instead, he has spoken about wanting to support his daughters, strengthen their self-belief, and help them feel secure in who they are. That kind of parenting may sound simple, but it leaves a deep mark. And maybe that is part of why the Damon daughters come across the way they do. When people see them at public events, they do not look like polished symbols arranged for a perfect family photo. They look like real young women who have been given room to grow into themselves. There is a steadiness in that, a comfort, a sense that they are not trying to become what the public wants, but are simply showing up as who they already are. That changes the meaning of beauty. Beauty on its own can catch the eye for a second. But when it comes with calm, self-respect, and a natural sense of ease, it carries more weight. It stays with people longer. The Damon daughters still have glamour, of course, but it does not feel empty or overly polished. It feels shaped by a home where being seen as a person mattered first. And that gives their public image something many others never quite managed to have: depth. Matt Damon's intentional approach to fatherhood clearly played a major part in shaping the qualities people notice in his daughters beyond beauty. But is he the biological father of all these gorgeous girls? Or is one of them not his biological child, but the daughter he chose to love and raise as his own? Let's find out. The little girl who taught Matt Damon what fatherhood really meant, long before the public began praising Matt Damon as the perfect father of daughters, one little girl had already changed the course of his life. Her name was Alexia. When Damon met Luciana in Miami in 2003, he was not walking into a simple romance. Luciana was already a mother, and her daughter was only 4 years old. From the very start, that reality shaped everything. Luciana later shared that when Damon asked her to go out, she said no because she had to get home to her child. Alexia came first. That answer could have pushed him away, but it did the opposite. Damon admired it. He respected the fact that Luciana's first loyalty was to her daughter, and that detail seems to have told him a great deal about the kind of woman she was. What happened next says a lot about the kind of man he chose to be. Damon did not stay on the edges of that life, watching from a safe distance. He stepped into it, and he did it quickly, not in a careless way, but in a sincere one. He later admitted that becoming part of that family happened fast and felt natural. There was no dramatic speech, no public show, and no attempt to make himself look noble. He simply accepted that loving Luciana meant showing up for Alexia, too. Damon's identity as a father did not begin with a headline or a photo opportunity. It began with responsibility, patience, and daily presence. With Alexia, fatherhood was not about image. It was about being there in the ordinary moments that quietly build trust over time. It was teaching her how to drive. It was including her in his life in ways that felt warm and genuine. It was creating a bond that looked less like an obligation and more like a chosen family. Alexia matters in this journey because before the world saw Matt Damon as a proud father surrounded by daughters, Alexia was already the first person who taught him what that role truly meant. She was there before the labels, before the praise, and before the public image. In many ways, she was where the real story began and where his fatherhood took root. Although Alexia was Luciana's daughter before Matt came into their lives, he stepped in and helped raise her as his own. But who are Matt and Luciana's biological daughters, and what has made this family bond so strong without any sign of division or favoritism? Let's uncover the details. The three daughters who brought laughter to Matt Damon's family life. After Alexia, the family kept growing, and with each new daughter, the home took on a different mood. First came Isabella, then Gia, then Stella, and each girl seemed to bring her own style, her own spark, and her own way of filling the house. That is part of what makes Matt Damon's family story feel so genuine. These are not four daughters blended into one public image. They each come through as their own person, and that makes the family feel alive. Isabella, born in 2006, seems to bring humor wherever she goes. Damon has spoken about her with the kind of amused respect that fathers often have for the child who keeps them humble. She is funny, quick, and clearly not impressed by his fame. In fact, some of her favorite moments seem to come from teasing him. Damon once said she is more likely to watch films people disliked than those critics praised, simply because they give her better material to laugh at. That detail says so much. It shows a daughter who sees past the movie star and goes straight for the dad. It also shows a home where laughter matters. And like many girls her age, she had her own pop culture excitement too. Damon shared that she was thrilled by a Harry Styles video message, and later he took her and her younger sisters to see Styles in concert. Those little moments make Isabella feel less like a celebrity child and more like a real teenager with a sharp wit and a life of her own. Gia, born in 2008, adds a softer feeling to the family story. There is something gentler in the way her presence is described. She traveled from a young age, visited film sets, and was part of that unforgettable family meeting with Nelson Mandela, while Damon was working on Invictus. That alone gives her story a sense of quiet depth. Stella, born in 2010, arrived when life was already busy, loud, and full of movement. Damon admitted that welcoming a fourth daughter changed the whole rhythm of the house. By then, the family already had its pattern, and Stella came in and reshaped it. Together, the girls do not seem like a polished set made for photos. They feel like separate hearts, separate minds, and separate voices under one roof. That is what makes the family so easy to believe in. Beyond the unique energy each daughter brings to the family, how does Matt Damon truly feel about raising such girls? And what kind of bond does he share with his beautiful daughters? Now, let's explore how fast Matt Damon's gorgeous girls have grown up. The heart-tugging father-daughter moment. One of the most touching things Matt Damon has said about being a father came in January 2026 during a conversation on New Heights. He shared a small moment with Jason Kelsey, but it carried the kind of emotion that stays with people long after the words are spoken. His 17-year-old daughter, Gia, had broken her collarbone and was getting ready for school. Before leaving, she asked him to brush her hair. He did it without making a big deal of it, just as any loving father would. But while doing something so simple, he suddenly realized how much time had passed. He had not brushed her hair in 8 or 9 years. That quiet moment says more than many long speeches about family ever could. It was not dramatic. It was not designed for applause. It was just a father standing beside his daughter, helping her in a way he once did all the time when she was little. And in that instant, the years seemed to fold in on themselves all at once somehow. The teenage girl in front of him was still, for a second, the small child he once cared for with his own hands every morning. That is why his advice landed so deeply. He simply said, "Don't blink." Such a short line, but it holds so much truth. Children do not grow up slowly in the way parents imagine. One day, they need help with nearly everything. Then, almost before anyone is ready, they are taller, older, more independent, and standing on the edge of their own lives. These are not only gorgeous daughters appearing beside a well-known father on red carpets. They are also the little girls he remembers carrying, comforting, teaching, and watching over. The world may see elegant young women and think of beauty first. A father sees that too, but he also sees the missing years in between. He sees the child who used to reach for his hand. He hears the smaller voice that once called for him from another room. And maybe that is why this moment hits so hard. It reminds us that growing up can be beautiful, but for a parent, it is also a little heartbreaking. Matt has admitted that his daughters are growing up incredibly fast, right before his eyes, but how deeply affectionate is he toward them? And how far has he gone to show the strength of his love for each of them? Let's find out. The playful chaos that keeps his home so real. Red carpet moments can tell you something about a family, but they rarely tell you the whole truth. The fuller picture often lives in the quiet choices, the private gestures, and the small memories that never make the biggest headlines. With Matt Damon, some of the clearest signs of what his family means to him have come through details that are easy to miss if you only look at the glamorous side of his life. One of the most meaningful examples came in 2019, when he had the names of all 4 of his daughters tattooed on his right upper arm beside Luciana's name. On the surface, it may sound like a small personal decision, the kind many people make without much fuss, but the reason behind it gave the gesture real weight. Damon explained that Luciana's name had always felt alone there, and that he had wanted for a long time to add the names of the children, too. That says a lot in a very quiet way. It shows that he did not see his family as something separate from his identity. He wanted them carried with him, always present, always close, written into his life in a way that could not be rubbed out or set aside. That kind of love becomes even clearer in the lighter stories. During the pandemic, when production on The Last Duel was paused, the family stayed on in Ireland instead of rushing back into their usual routine. What followed was not a polished celebrity escape, but something much more ordinary and much more revealing. Damon later joked that his daughters dyed his hair red and even gave him a mohawk. It is the kind of story that makes people laugh, but it also opens a small window into what life in that house must feel like. For all the fame, the awards, and the attention that follow him in public, home seems to run on a different kind of energy. It sounds warm, playful, and relaxed enough for his daughters to treat him less like a Hollywood star and more like a willing participant in their fun. It suggests a family life built not on image, but on comfort and trust. The tattoos show permanence. The Ireland story shows ease. Put together, they reveal something deeper than any premiere photo can capture. A father who may be known around the world, but who seems happiest being fully claimed by the people waiting for him at home. So, what do you think about the exceptional beauty of Matt Damon's daughters? Does he deserve all the credit? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.